An announcement from the great and powerful Oz.
I thought it over, and green is dead. Till I changed my mind, the color's red.
Hey everybody, it is your girl, Red Angel, and I have been talking about this for the past week or so on all of my social networking sites. I now am officially on the phone with Timmy Grins. You want to say hello to all of my listeners out there?
Yeah. What's up, everybody? How y'all feeling? Timmy Grins is the place to be. Microphone check 1 2. What is this? Yeah. How you feeling?
Wow. I think what makes this interview even more special is the fact that you are an artist. And you're an artist, but you're already doing so much for the communities and bringing awareness to the problems that a lot of individuals and communities are having when it comes to alcoholism and trying to help children, teens stay on the right track. And you're doing some amazing things. And most people think that, as they rise, once they finally make it big and that's when they have to start giving back. But it's like you've been giving back from the very start. Can you let my listeners know a little bit about who you are and what you do? It's a phenomenon we've always stood by. It's like you give love, you get love.
And that's got to, kind of, it's a very simple idea, and it's the kind of thing where it's like what you put in is what you get out, genuinely.
Right.
And, it's living proof that you can make it and be a decent human being. And don't get me wrong, I have accumulated enemies. There's no question. I have certainly accumulated enemies because, look, obviously in some of the circumstances that we're talking about in terms of, bringing light to and pushing forward a positive agenda, there are you're often the negative counterparts, namely sometimes the drug dealers on the corner, cats that just don't want to see that succeed because you're having an impediment on their business.
Right.
I respect their right to try to earn $1, but they got to kind of do it within the rules, and in my mind, they're breaking the rules. So with that, we push back. I am an alcoholic. I do not drink. I was forced into early retirement, let's call it. I was highly unsuccessful. Had 2 DWIs before I was 19 years old. Got my third at 24, or at 23, just in my 24th year on the planet, though. At that point in time, I recognized that, hey, I got to step back from this. With art, I was able to pen something called Last Call. And it's basically my story and that of a kid that I was in AA with who was 19 years old and hit a family of 4 on New Year's Eve. And put those two stories together, and the commonalities of those experiences have produced Last Call. Worked with my homeboy Fabio Lomolino, who was a producer for PBS, and we produced the video for Last Call, which now, starting to take a little bit of a life of its own, which is nice. Did help land me on Oprah, which was really fly. Got a chance to meet her and, kind of push the agenda and learn how she does. Through that, so the power of positivity, does land you in some great places, and, you don't got to cut somebody's throat to get ahead.
Right.
You can, in fact, and not only that, but you embrace what's wrong with you, I'm an alcoholic, and, for a moment in time, I wanted to hide in the shadows, but now I realize the more that you publicize it, the more you bring it out to the public eye, the more that you can have an impact and help others, and also show others that, there's nothing wrong with being an alcoholic. It's a disease, okay? It's an allergy. I'm allergic to alcohol. And the more I can kind of let the world know that, look at the life that I lead. I'm on a great tour right now. I'm on the 3rd Rail Jam tour, a tour myself and a homeboy of mine helped create. We built this thing from day one, from scratch, from nothing. Right, and now it's 8 stops all over the country. It's one of the biggest winter sports tours in the world. We did this in 4 years, and did this completely sober. He, like me, doesn't drink either. So it's like these are things, and look at the life we're leading. I'm on a tour bus. Are you kidding me? We're making new videos every day. We're having fun. I'm meeting new people. It's nuts. We're having rocking after parties. I mean, we made it rain. We threw thousands of dollars out to the crowd up in Killington, Vermont. I mean, I don't got to be Waka Flocka Flame, you know what I mean, to make that rain, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, we get down, we make it happen just the same, you know what I mean? And the ladies look just as good. You know what I'm saying? And the nice thing is ladies feel a little bit more comfortable with dudes like me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you don't got to worry about, at the end of the day. So it's a beautiful thing. And, it's just really coming together. And it's like, the more that we keep putting into this juggernaut, the more that keeps coming back. It's like, and it's really just an acceptance of when you see something wrong, you do what you can to make it right. You don't sit by.
Exactly.
That's one of the pieces that I think oftentimes people miss. They see things going wrong in their neighborhood. They see things wrong in the world, and they think, well, there's nothing I can do. Well, you know what? You need to get a smack for that because you can. You step out, even your one voice stepping out, saying something, and you got so many forums to express yourself now, from, chatting it up on Facebook or Twitter or creating a video, posting it to YouTube, or even just speaking out on your own street corner, moving up, moving on, getting things done. You can. You can. And I know America's been getting its ass kicked, and people have fallen down, and they've been struggling to get back up again. But the theory is that we have seen this all before. In fact, I just released a new episode of Dropping Gems yesterday where I'm speaking to that, where I sit there and I say, you know what, look, in the last 18 months, or if I told you that in the next 18 months that your president was going to get shot, if the Pope was going to get shot, if leaders of the free world were going to be assassinated, if one of the most vicious diseases in the history of man was to be discovered and it was going to kill millions, if bombs were going to start to arrive in the mail, if nuclear arms were going to proliferate to never-before-seen levels and be pointed right at your door, would you even get out of bed? Would you get up? Would you continue to fight? Because if I sat there and I told you that, you know what, and couple that with unemployment going flying through 10%, the economy requiring a bailout, everybody sitting here saying, oh my God, everything is going to collapse, the United States being in recession, one of the deepest, darkest times it's ever seen since the Great Depression. If I told you all of that was going to occur in the next 18 months, would you get out of bed? Probably not.
Right.
But if I sat there and I told you that already happened, right? That already happened, because that was January 1, 1980 to June 30, 1981. Those 18 months already occurred. President Reagan was shot. The Pope was shot. The leader of Italy was assassinated. AIDS was discovered in that period of time. So all of these vicious things, nuclear arms between the United States and Russia, at that point in time, it looked like there was going to be a nuclear war any day, and they were pointed at the doorstep. So it's like when people tell me that, I can't do it, the economy is so bad, BS, you've seen it all before. This time it is not different. It is no different than it has been. And it's time to get up and get out and get something. Take that outcast advice. You know what I mean?
You are...
Woo! Yeah, you didn't know.
Yes,
you didn't know. I was coming fully loaded. You didn't know. Boom. You know what I mean?
It's like to listen to you and to listen to you. Like, I have goosebumps right now. It's like I don't even know how to snowboard, but it's like to be around you. Like, you could talk me into hopping on that thing and just attempting. Because it's like,
and you have the time of your life, yo. The time of your life, and it's so easy to do.
Oh my God!
It's so
like,
easy to do.
You need to just talk to so many people. Like, you need to be on every single platform that is out there. One, because you are an artist and you have the creative ability or the power to create and put it into words. And some people, they can only paint. Some people, they draw or what have you. But you're able to speak it. And I didn't feel like you were speaking at me. I felt like you were talking to me, but on a totally different plane. Like, you're able to ignite something in everyone.
Word.
And that is 100% a God-given gift. And did you wake up one day and realize that you had this? Like, when did you realize, you know what, I have to do something?
Well, I've always felt that way. I've always been an organizer, right? Back in the day when, coming up playing basketball, right? It was the kind of thing where, there's never any games. So what I would do is I would get on the phone, I would call everybody, say, yo, there's a game today at 4 o'clock, meet at the schoolyard. and gathered all the kids. We'd have sick games. I'd bring the boom box, be pumping the Eric B. and Rakim tapes, giving kids hip hop early on. You know what I mean? But it was cool.
Right.
Like that was stuff I was doing as a young kid coming up, and then but the same. It just carried on. It carried on in everything I did. It was it's just what I do. I'm a product of my mother. My father left when I was like 8 years old. Really haven't seen or heard from him pretty much since. But my mother has an enormous work ethic. She raised 3 boys. She worked 4 or 5 jobs on the come up. Managed to get to every single one of my baseball games, basketball games, football games. My brother's the same. Somehow got it all done and managed to find time to sleep and cook dinner and prepare lunch. So every day we went to school, we had food. So it was like, you see something like that. Now that's all I know. Now that's like my blessing and my curse, right? Like I was blessed with a tremendous work ethic because of my mother, because my grandparents were the same way. But that's also the curse, because I don't know how to chill. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, chilling to me is doing a radio interview. You know what I mean? It's like, no, seriously, it's like, it's that blessing and curse. But along the way, I started to recognize and see, like, okay, you know what? There's a little something different about the way I get down. And I started to recognize, and at first I didn't want to embrace it because I felt like it was almost like slightly corny. Right? I was like, I don't want to be that dude. But that's also because, when you sit there and you hear about motivational speakers, you hear things like that, you're like, oh, geez, they're thinking of Tony Robbins and all these weird dudes, like that you saw on late night TV. And I was like, I can't be a part of that. I don't want to do that. But then I started seeing, like, wait, somebody like Ray Lewis, right, middle linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens, like, that's a dude, like, he gets the team fired up, you know what I mean? You start seeing people like that, and you start reading about people who led legions, like Hannibal, who took elephants over the Himalayas. You start seeing, like, movies like 300 where these cats are just, fighting the Persian army, and you're like, that's what it is. And I sit there and say, now that's what I'm talking about. And that's why I also joke that, I'm just a decision or 2 away from leading a separatist movement in the middle of Montana and attacking the United States government. You know what I mean? So it's like, I say that tongue in cheek. You know what I mean? I don't mean that seriously, but it's like,
I know what
the more you start to learn, and the more you start to recognize the power that you can pull together, it's like, a couple of bad turns, I could have been that dude. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, you have been one of the fortunate ones. You mentioned it earlier, and I've had opportunity to catch some of it online on YouTube. You were honored on Oprah for all of the wonderful things and the wonderful work that you're doing, along with like around an additional 150 other guests. For all of the wonderful things that you do, how did that feel? Like, were you surprised? Were you? I can't even imagine.
That was wild. It was wild. I mean, old girl made my toes curl, right? Yeah. And what was funny was like so I ran this marathon in Chicago, right? I ran the Chicago Marathon this past summer, worked with a bunch of people. We raised money for the Alzheimer's Association, right? Because my grandparents had Alzheimer's. My grandmother, my grandfather, Peg and Bill, they're like, part of they're my legacy. And that's where I put out a song called Legacy of Videos, really a commercial, really to help raise money. We raised collectively over $10,000, which is dope, But so I was in Chicago, and I was going back, and I knew I was going to Chicago. And look, we've been doing a lot of tremendous things. So I just started, chatting it up on Facebook, like, I'm going on Oprah. I'm going to be on Oprah. And then everybody, like, started rallying behind me, writing letters and saying, let's get this kid on Oprah. And then, sure enough, I'm driving from Maryland to Jersey, because I live in Maryland, but I got a lot of business in New Jersey. And I was driving late one night, and this woman, Carol Wellman, who's a social worker and professor at Indiana, sends me a text message and says, Timmy, pack your bags. We're on Oprah next Tuesday. And I'm like,
wow.
I was like, Carol, really? I said, are you sure? And she's like, hang on. She gave me a phone number, so I called. And they're like, we need you out here. Can you be here next Tuesday? I was like, what's it all about? They're like, we can't tell you. I was like, what do you mean you can't tell me?
What?
They're like, yeah, we can't tell you. So now all of a sudden it sets off this is a slightly stressful moment because it's like all of a sudden it sets off this phenomenon, on Facebook. I'm like, yo, I'm going on Oprah. It's real. Oh my. And then everybody's talking about what it is, and the only thing we had to go on was that we were invited because Carol's letter was that, I was her hero, right? So, and then it just became this madness, like, oh, Timmy's going to be on Oprah, this hero thing, blah, 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 and all this, right? So but Carol and I had no idea what was going on. So I flew into Indianapolis. It was great. Got to meet Carol, Dan, her husband, and all the people out there that she gets down with. I really had a kind of chance to kind of kick it with her community, which was cool. We drove into Chicago. That morning, we're sitting there, and, they were in this line. We're like, wait, what's going on? Because we didn't know if I'm sitting on Oprah's couch or if I'm going to be in the next room. You know what I mean? Didn't know what was going on. Then we started to get a handle. We're like, wait a minute, everybody else here, in some way, shape, or form, spends a large amount of their time giving back, right, or just being involved, right? So, but then still you didn't know. So finally they call everybody in, and I'm telling you, I'm sitting in the furthest possible seat from Oprah. I'm like, wow, okay, I don't know what's going on, really. It's cool. Hey, at least I'm going to see the Oprah show, right? And Carol, she was like all shook up to it. She was like, I don't know what's going to happen. And then 2 seconds later, Oprah comes out, and she's like, yeah, we're going to talk about meditation. And she goes, I want you to meditate on this. And then she rips her dress off, right? And it starts snowing in the audience. Christmas music starts playing. The whole thing starts, the stage part. She's got this huge Santa's Workshop, and it's her favorite things episode. So next thing I know, I'm sitting here, and now I know who Oprah is, right? I'm fully aware, but I don't know a lot of the details. So the whole crowd starts losing its mind, right? Because these gifts are going to be bestowed upon us. And I'm like, yo, I'm the skeptic, dude. I'm like, yo, really? Am I really going to get that? A diamond watch? Really? A 52-inch TV? Really? A cruise? Really? I mean, the funny thing is, and so Oprah, basically communicates to everybody. She's like, listen, all of y'all spend so much time communicating and doing positive things with your platform. She goes, I wanted to reward you. I wanted to give back to all of you who give. And she goes, and do yourselves a favor. Please keep something. And that's the funny thing. It's like, literally, I've given away everything that I got except for the Netflix membership and the cruise. So I haven't taken the cruise yet. Yeah, I gave away everything.
Wow.
I kept the Netflix because it was 5-year subscriptions. That's kind of cool. And then, and then you got to think about it like this, too, is that Oprah is really geared towards women like my mother. So my mother had a great Christmas, just being real. She got a lot of it. I basically told her, I was like, Ma, whatever you want, you take, and I'll just give away the rest, so that after that, I was like, I'm going to keep the cruise, So I just got to find the right female now, take her on this cruise, because I don't want to be sending the wrong message, you know what I mean?
I don't know, after they all take a listen to this, you're going to have a bunch of women around the world trying to get a hold of you.
Hey, no complaints, no complaints. I'm very much a globally moving type of dude, so, I'm into it. I'm into it. All about some wonderful moments in time.
Now, you said it's a third rail jam. It's on tour right now.
Correct.
And where are you
That's
next?
Correct.
Where are you stopping next?
Well, right now we're in Denver. I'm actually sitting in the offices of Snowboard Colorado magazine, who've been helping us out here, doing a tremendous job. They got a magazine that they've been pushing that really caters to the Colorado snowboard population, obviously. So we're in Denver. There's a contest on Saturday. To get an idea of what the Third Rail Jam is, it's just a seamless blend of hip-hop and snow sports culture. You step out on the mountain, we've got a big 20 by 20 tent, DJ booth inside of it, DJ rocking, some classic clean hip-hop. Which, again, we're always trying to knock down those barriers, those stereotypes, because oftentimes people think hip-hop, they think, oh, boy, you know what I mean, here goes the neighborhood. But then simultaneously, people think snowboarders, skateboarders, they're like, oh, boy, this kid's going to steal my pocket money. You know what I mean? It's like, this kid's a glom. He's going to do that. You know what I mean? It's on both sides of the fence, so it's wonderful. We bring the toots to the mountain. We let it rock. The DJs out there, we have graffiti writers coming out, painting large canvases at each stop. We have an MC battle, and it's not a traditional battle in the traditional sense that kids are battling back and forth. It's called the Battle Below Zero because it is outside, it is in the elements, but it's more of a battle of the band's type. As many as 6 to 8 MCs or groups per stop get an opportunity to perform their track to the audience that's out there on the hill. Usually it's several thousand, so it's always a nice little exposure for them. But simultaneously, they win prizes and they get the right to open up at the after party. Also, we have a rail jam. Now, this is when you see kids riding their snowboards on rails, popping tricks, doing things like that. We have 4 different divisions. We have 15 and under, which is for the younger cats. We got the girls division. We got the skiers division. Then we have what's called the best of breed, which is basically if you're a male, you're 16 and over, and you rock on a snowboard. Prize packages for all of them, cash money, gear from Under Armour. Every rider that signs up gets a fresh new